My name is Jessica, and I am an alcoholic, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I have a sobriety date of May the 1st, 2015, and I have a sponsor who has a sponsor who has a sponsor who is sponsored. Um, Thank you, Stu, for this opportunity and allowing me to take time out of my day to treat my disease. So I want to read something real quick before I get started, and it's coming off of page 76, out of Into Action, and it says, "We have emphasized willingness as being indispensable." And I'm gonna go down a little bit further, down towards the bottom of the page, and it says, "Remember, it was agreed at the beginning we would go to any length for victory over alcohol." And so, you know, this sobriety date is not my first sobriety date. I wish that I could sit here and say that I came into these rooms my first time around and I got it and I did it perfectly and everything was just great. But that would be a lie. And, I really, really struggled, and I wasn't willing to do a lot of the things being asked of me. I wasn't willing to follow any suggestions, and I wasn't willing to be rigorously honest, and I wasn't willing to be open-minded. And you know I had to learn the hard way, man. And thank God for his grace and his mercy, because if I had really gotten what I deserved, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And so coming back around this time around, I always keep in the forefront of my mind all the things that I was willing to do to get one more. All those things that I said I would never do that I eventually done. The disgraceful things that I've done, jumping in and out of cars, and, you know, um, committing crimes, and um, dragging my daughter around to different trap houses and houses with no running water or electricity, and staying up for days at a time, just to constantly um, feed a craving that was beyond my mental control. And so I got to remember all those. I got to keep that in the forefront of my mind, because I got some deep rooted character defects that I don't want to let go of, right? And I don't always want to wake up every day and live do things that do the things that are required of me to live life on life terms. I don't always want to get up and go to work, but I got to remember, this is a part of life. It's a part of being responsible. And, God has provided me with the opportunity, to have my own place. That's a blessing. I've been afforded the opportunity to even have a job to go into where I can be trusted today. And I got to remember those times. I got to remember the time that I stood in court in front of the judge, and the judge made the decision to terminate my parental rights, and I have not seen my daughter since 2014. I got to remember the times that I woke up in the back of an ambulance or sitting in the hospital because I just overdosed. And so when it comes to living this way of life, I don't play. I don't play. And I got to remember, I constantly remind myself of where I have come from, and the happiness and the joy that I have today are rewards from putting the work in. The peace that I have today and the serenity that I have today is wonderful. and there's no way to describe it. There's no better feeling than being able to lay down in my own bed at night. And when I retire, I can sleep peacefully because I'm okay with me. And that's not saying that I do this perfectly, because I'm by no means am I a perfect human being. And then 12 and 12 says it perfectly. God does not render us white as snow. But when I foul up or I fall short, it's how I'm going to view it. And see, I always choose to view it as a lesson learned. What can I get out of this? How can I move forward from this? What can I do differently next time? And I'm honest. I'm always honest about where I'm at. If I'm mad, I'm honest about it. I know what to do. If, I'm upset, I know how to communicate in a healthy manner today. And those were all things like learning how to communicate healthy, man, isn't something that came real easily for me, because I grew up in a really chaotic home and the street life was the only life I ever knew. That's how I was raised. And, my mother was the first person whom I had ever drank with, who I had ever done any other substances with. And that was the person who taught me about the streets and the game, and that fast-paced life. And it everything always seemed so appealing growing up when I was learning these things. And little did I know the weapon I was forging against myself. And only through God's grace and mercy do I sit here today. Like I had said a few minutes ago, if I'd really gotten what I deserved, I wouldn't be sitting here. I've wrecked cars and overdosed several times. I've attempted suicide. And so to be able to wake up and function without a drink or without any other substances is a beautiful thing. I never ever ever dreamed that I would be living the life that I live today. And it's a real simple program, but it ain't easy. I'm gonna keep this on me. I've never liked to admit my flaws. I always wanted to be perceived a certain way. I had to be whoever I thought you wanted me to be. I had to be liked. And today I am who I am. When I fall short, I admit it. I'm honest about where I'm at, and I'm always willing to take a look at me. And that's how I just keep growing. And it's been a long road of reconstruction. And I just get a little bit better each day and through each situation that I go through. And what I have is a kit of spiritual tools laid at my feet that helps me deal with everyday life. See, for 5.5 years, I have not found it necessary to pick up any alcohol or any other substances, despite everything that has come my way. Life has smacked me upside the head a few times. I've lost, loved ones, and my significant other, we're no longer together now, but I went through a period when I was with him. He struggled staying sober, and it's real hard to be in a relationship with someone who is actively in addiction. And that wasn't easy. uh but I stayed sober through it, and when the pain got great enough, I did something different. And so it's just been about keeping my eyes open and looking at the bigger picture, and getting what I can get out of each and every situation. And you know um I've been with the company that I'm with now for about a year and a half. And, I work at a treatment facility, and, although I work in recovery, and it's not working by no means is it working my program. But it helps me work my program. Uh, and and there's been promotions that I've went through. Um, the very first promotion that I went up for, I did this job for 2.5 months, and was supposed to have it. It was supposed to be mine, and I did it. I trained for it. And I didn't get the pay or the title for the 2.5 months that I did it, just to be told that because of wreckage of my past, that I couldn't have that position, because we take in Department of Correction clients, and I am still currently on papers. So I'm not allowed to oversee anyone else who is on papers. And you talk about a big letdown. And then I got to train the guy who they hired for that position. And I wanted to be real mad. And I wanted to kick and scream. And I wanted to say, screw this. I'm going to find another job. And, thank God for the people that, he keeps in my path, and he keeps me surrounded with, because they call me out. And, I had to come to the realization that, God has what he has for me, and what he's got for someone else is what he's got for someone else. And, I pushed through that, and pushing through that, I ended up in the position that God had for me. And it's been one of the most fulfilling and rewarding positions. And that's all thanks, to the God of my understanding and to Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank, for people like you guys teaching me, how to be patient, how to push through things, how to look at things differently. And so I want to read something real quick before I end. It says, and this is coming out of There Is a Solution. Almost none of us like the self-searching, the leveling of our pride, the confessing of shortcomings, which the process requires for its successful consummation. But we saw that it really worked in others, and we had come to believe in the hopelessness and futility of life as we had been living it. When, therefore, we were approached by those in whom the problem had been solved, there was nothing left for us but to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed. I never imagined that I would be living the life that I live today. If you would have asked me 6 or 7 years ago, I would have told you that I was going to die addict and I was going to die in the streets, that would have been the only life for me, because it's all I ever knew. But today, I have a life that is worth living, a life that is meaningful, and I can see the beauty in the world today, and I can see the beauty in other people because I can see the beauty in myself. And through working the steps and loving and learning to love myself, I slowly learned to love other people. And I've been able to discipline myself in practicing patience, love, and tolerance, and accepting situations that I have no control over for what they are. And to have that level of peace and that freedom, there's no words that I can say to describe that. To be able to go to sleep at night, okay, with me and know that I've done my best through the day and I've helped someone that day is the greatest gift and the greatest blessing of all. Thank you, Stu. I love you. And thank you, everyone else. I appreciate you guys.